What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Today we got another Q&A video. Now, per usual, guys, I just want everybody to know if you want to get in on these and you want to have a chance to get your question answered with a little shout out, then you need to add my Facebook page, Remington James. Now, if you want the exact direct link to get there, go down to the description box below and you will see all my social media. So just add my Facebook page, or is it following? I'm not sure what Facebook is. They're all different. Just add me. We're just gonna use add me on there, and I post about once a week asking for questions and feedback. You guys post your questions and I do my best to answer as many of them as I can, and I appreciate every one of you that get on there and leave your questions. We had over 60 questions this week, which is really cool. So I'm excited to get right down to it. And then quick announcement, guys. You see this? You see this? New Team RJF shirts are in. I was able to restock all the sizes. I had some people asking about double XLs, asking about some of the other sizes in the black shirts, the red ones, and I restocked all of those. So rjfitapparel.com, if you have been wanting one of these but I didn't have your size, and the new greens are out. This is a new color, so limited edition. I have maybe 30 of these things to sell, so they're on my website right now if you want to grab one. And yeah, same quality, custom tags, all that jazz. You guys know what it is. So anyways, little plug out of the way. If you guys are ready to hear me answer some of your questions, then I'm ready to answer them. Let's do it. All right, guys. Question number 1 comes from John Rossiter. He asks, what is your biggest achievement to date? You know, that is a tough question to answer because I feel like lately, especially in like the last year, I've had so many accomplishments that I'm extremely proud of, right? But if I had to pick one thing over anything else, obviously, you know, I love the YouTube stuff and I love, you know, the fact that I own my own business now. I was able to quit my job, work for myself. But the biggest thing I would say, if I had to say one accomplishment, would be that I was able to sit aside a lot of my preconceived notions about what I was capable of, and a lot of my self-doubt, and a lot of my fear, and a lot of, you know, I used to take criticism so personal, and I used to listen to other people when they told me I couldn't do this or I couldn't do that. The fact that I've been able to take all of that, ball it up, and throw it out the window, and you know, I'm so much more comfortable in my own skin, and for once in my life I'm like happy about who I am, right? And I accept myself, flaws and all. Not to say that I don't still have stuff that, you know, bothers me about myself, obviously, but you know, the person I was even just a year ago compared to the person I am now, completely different person. And you know, and I could sit here and I could tell you guys that it's my YouTube that I'm super proud of, or it's my fact that I have my own clothes, or you know, whatever. But realistically, it's the fact that I have grown so much as a person, right? And I'm slowly, you know, I'm nowhere close to where I want to be, but I'm slowly becoming the person that's, you know, I think the younger me would look up to and be proud that this is kind of where I'm at. So I don't know if that's the answer you were looking for, but if I had to say my biggest accomplishment to date, to sum it up, would be that I've been able to cast aside a lot of the fear, a lot of the doubt. I'm really just my own person now, and you know, I'm not scared to go after anything I want, and that in and of itself, compared to who I used to be and the stuff I used to believe in, is my biggest accomplishment to date, for sure. Thank you, John, for all your support and your question. Next question, this one was funny, I had to answer it. It is, if you, Ank, Nate, and Troy were to get into a fight, who would win and why? Also, shout out. All right, Taruki Matthews, thanks for your question, man. So this would never happen, by the way, just a little disclaimer, but here's the deal. We got into a fight. I mean, you gotta look at it. So we gotta look at everybody's pros and cons, right? You know, Nate's tall and long, and and very, his reach, and he's very muscular. So I imagine, you know, I'm probably the shortest guy and the smallest out of everybody. You pair me up against Nate or anybody, I think Nate could just like put his arms out to the side and just like spin in a circle and knock us all out. So Nate has that advantage. Whereas, you know, Ankrum, it's really hard to say because I think Ankrum's like the sleeping giant, right? Like, he's not talking much. He's kind of cool, calm, collected, but it's always the quiet guys you got to worry about. You know what I mean? Like, Ankrum comes in knowing jujitsu. It's like watching Ip Man on Netflix. Hit that like button if you've seen that movie. But I feel like Ankrum's the sleeper, right? And then Troy's a lot of brawn. You know what I mean? Big guy, you know? So I feel like Troy's just gonna football tackle you, get you on the ground, and just start hammering you. You always got to watch out for a guy like Troy, you know what I mean? And then you get me in there, And I'm the guy, I think I'm really quick to surprise people. People have counted me out my whole life, and I always kind of rise to the occasion. And when it comes to competition, I am not someone to back down. So I feel like I'm like the underdog. You know, I'd come in and people would kind of, you know, Vegas wouldn't have the money on me. The odds would be against me. And then I'd show up and, you know, surprise everybody. So who would win out of all of us, man? I don't know. That's a stupid question. I mean, it's a good question, but it's like, you know, to think about. Now, a better question would be find another group of 4, Team Dry Scoop versus another group, and then I think that would be the real question, because we all have our strengths and weaknesses. So I had to answer that question. That was it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So now we got from John Griffiths. What is your main focus in 2017? Building your YouTube social media following or your online coaching business? Hashtag Team Dry Scoop. Okay, so we have main focus in 2017. So, okay, that is an easy question to answer. Let me put it to you like this. So, I'm more focused on my YouTube and social media. And here's why, right? My online training business is a direct reflection of how well my social media, my YouTube, and everything else does. The more people I have that follow me on YouTube, the more technically advertising I get, right? You gotta think of it in terms of a business, right? You have all these businesses that are paying massive money to have their ads during the Super Bowl, to have their ads during primetime TV shows, having their ads placed everywhere, even on the internet. And I don't pay for advertising anywhere. My advertising is all free. My advertising essentially is my YouTube channel. So when people search for how to meal prep or how to do this or how to do that, or even someone that just wants to find an eating challenge, right? That is all advertisement in a way. I love making the videos. The videos are great content. It's really my passion lately, creating this content and just making videos. I love it, guys. I wouldn't have it any other way. But in reality, at the end of every one of my videos, if you pay attention, you know, meal plans and online coaching, Remington James Fitness. I don't shove what I do down anybody's throats at all. You know, I might mention it here and there, but I never specifically come out and say, sign up for a plan, guys, because I don't need to do that. I don't need to shove my products down your throat. But, you know, if you watch enough of me and you watch my YouTube channel and you see that, you know, I'm genuine, at least hopefully you guys think that I'm genuine, you know, and that I know what I'm talking about, and you trust me, you know, eventually, as that YouTube grows, my online coaching has no choice but to grow at the exact same time. So my focus is always gonna be YouTube first, and then that simultaneously also grows my coaching business, because you can't grow that business without advertising. That's any business. You can have the best product in the world, but if people don't know about it, then your product just sits there and stagnates. So advertising for any business is the most important part. You gotta find a good creative way to get your name out there. And in turn, right, I talk about my apparel all the time. I don't make a lot of money selling shirts, guys. I don't. I might make a little bit of money. It might help pay for an eating challenge or pay for, you know, this or that, but I'm not in this game to make money. This is advertising. Look at this. Team RJF. Boom. Someone looks at your shirt if you're wearing it and they go, what's that? Oh, it's this guy I follow on YouTube. You know what I mean? And that gets the conversation started. Then in turn, that kind of redirects back into what I do. Ultimately, the bulk of my money comes from my training plans. So I'm probably talking about this too much, but like, you know, advertising is key, right? So obviously build the advertising. The product has no choice but to grow, as long as you offer a good product, right? And your word of mouth remains positive. So thanks for the question, big dog. Appreciate you. All right, next question is from Jennifer Adkins. We have, why does it get harder to lose weight the older we get? Okay, couple reasons there. One is the fact that as you get older, your metabolism slows down. The amount of calories you burn just being you slows down dramatically as you get older. Now, this isn't so pronounced until you're really outside of your 30s. You know, through your 20s, it kind of stays roughly the same. But the biggest difference you're gonna see with a lot of people is that the older they get, the more sedentary they become. Like, you're younger, you're out, you're running, you're active, you're moving, you're doing this, you're doing that. And the older you get, the less that happens. The more likely you are to spend your time on the couch, your evenings watching television. The older you get, the more financially stable you are. So in turn, you're going out to dinner more often. You're spending more money on eating out, more food, stuff like that. That paired with a slower metabolism, yeah, it gets harder to lose weight. Now, if you eat clean, right? Let's say you're 20 some years old and you're eating clean versus you're 40 some, you're eating clean. The difference is that your metabolism when you're 20 is gonna be up here, and the metabolism when you're older is gonna be a little bit down here. So you can still lose weight effectively and fast. You just gotta make up for that metabolic slowdown and, you know, adjust your calorie levels and macros down to match that. So in a nutshell, hopefully that answered your question. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, and from Jay Conrad, we have, do you ever lose motivation? Everyone gets into a rut once in a while. How do you get out of it? Okay, do I ever lose motivation? Man, it's been a while since I have, and I'm not gonna lie to you and say there's not days where I wake up and I'm like, man, I don't wanna do any of this work. I don't wanna film a video. Like, I just wanna hang out. I just wanna be lazy, you know? But a lot of the motivation stuff is a mindset, right? And even on days I don't feel like doing something, I find that once I just start doing it, that kind of goes away. I think a lot of people, you run up into that, Troy made a video about this on resistance, right? You run up against that resistance, and that resistance can be a multitude of things. That can be your body telling you that you just want to lay in bed that day and you need more sleep, or you don't want to go to the gym, or you have all this other stuff to do, so you shouldn't do this thing, right? But in the end, if your goals matter to you, right? And if you're really serious about whether that's getting in shape, starting a business, whatever, if you're really serious about it, you'll get it done. A lot of this whole like losing motivation and getting it back thing is all a mindset. You just gotta be stronger than your excuses, and you gotta quit letting the tiniest of little things throw you off your path, right? There's days where it feels like everything goes wrong for me. There's days where I don't feel like smiling. But what do? I put my smile on, I grab my camera, I get what needs to be done. I don't neglect my clients, and I still go to the gym. Like, I just don't allow myself to make excuses. I made excuses my whole life. And once I was able to drop those excuses and eliminate them and really just say, you know what I want is so much more important than a little bit of extra rest, or, going and watching this movie instead of doing the work that I need to do, or going to the gym. Once I threw all that stuff to the side, my life got exponentially better. And let me tell you, there is no better feeling than knowing that you've created something and you've done something, or you've accomplished a goal. Because that, guys, that is just like, when I lay my head down at night and I go, man, I did all of this stuff today, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and I'm gonna do it all over again. And that just kind of pushes the ball further down the field towards my goals, right? And if you take those little steps every single day towards your goals, eventually you're gonna look back a year from now, 6 months from now, even 3 months from now, even a week from now, you'll look back and realize how much farther you've gone. It's not so much that you're doing all this stuff every day, it's that what you're doing every day, you're doing something, right? And those little things add up to big things. And eventually you're gonna look back, like I look back from a year ago to now, and I don't even know what happened, but here we are. I've made so much progress. And even on those days I didn't feel like doing stuff, I still did something. And that's what matters. So thanks for your question, big dog. Appreciate you. Okay, we have from Nathan Brungart. Thoughts, if any, on pine pollen? No thoughts. All right, and then from Joseph Ireland, this is a good question. I see that you always do steady state, low intensity cardio at 41 minutes. Is there a reason you don't do high intensity interval training, or is it just personal preference? He says, it seems as busy as you are, you could do in 20 and a half minutes what you could do in 41. Keep up the great content. Okay. So, I love this question. Here's why I do low intensity steady state cardio. Now, I could do high intensity interval training, right? I could, but typically the way that my split falls, right? For one, I prefer 40 minutes of cardio simply because while I'm doing it, I can multitask on my phone and do something else at the same time, right? And what I'm talking about, I'm not just saying like watching YouTube and stuff like that, which I do, but like for every video that I make, right, I have to create a thumbnail for it. So, and I have to make a title that's gonna work. So what I'll do is usually I'll edit my video, throw it on the computer to render. That takes like 45 minutes. So while I have that time, that's when I do my cardio. And I'll sit there on my phone and I'll create my thumbnail for my video. And at the same time, I might reply to client emails. I might work on an Instagram post for the day. I might work on a Twitter post. I work while I do my cardio, right? Doing high intensity interval training makes that almost impossible. So really, you're correct. Now, if let's say I'm on vacation or something, and I'm not really working, and I want to get my cardio banged out, yeah, high intensity interval training, I love doing that, right? But every minute of every day of mine, I'm working, I'm doing something, and even during my cardio. So that's my thing. Like, if you follow me on Snapchat, you've seen yesterday that like I was Snapchatting and talking about my new video while I'm on the cardio machine. So there's always work to be done, and I find that if I can overlap certain things, like do my cardio while my video is rendering, make my thumbnail and my title, and then, get ready to post it on all my social media, like, I just multitask. So yeah, in a nutshell, that is basically why I opt for the steady state. Plus, it's more enjoyable. I'm not a huge fan of high intensity interval training just from a like completely tearing myself down standpoint. If I do 20 minutes of high intensity interval training, then I go try to lift after, I've probably depleted my muscle glycogen stores, and my lift is not gonna be near as good. So low intensity doesn't quite drain me off the same way. I can literally do 40 minutes of cardio, go lift, and not even notice it. Whereas high intensity interval training just takes so much more of a toll on my body. So hopefully that answered your question, man. Thank you so much, by the way. Love that one. We have from Matt Spalding. What's your worst fear/phobia? Fear/phobia. Okay, I don't want to say that there's anything in particular that I'm overly scared of, right? I mean, obviously, I really don't want to be in a submarine at the bottom of the ocean. For some reason, I feel like that would be extremely terrifying. But if I had to pick like something I think that bothers me more than anything else, I would have to say, honestly, it would be disappointing my mom. Now, that's gonna sound like a really weird answer, but just hear me out, right? Growing up, I wasn't always the best son. I went through a lot of stuff personally. I wasn't the best, most loving. I was very shut in. I was very, growing up with like acne and stuff. I know I'm kind of just making excuses, but like I was very just like lock myself in my room, play video games type of guy. I got in a lot of trouble growing up. I was a class clown. I had to go to court for fighting. I just wasn't, I was kind of a bully really in school. I took a lot of my insecurities and stuff that bothered me, and instead of accepting that, I just projected outwards, and I would point out other people's flaws and insecurities, and I just wasn't a very good son, and everything I do now, a lot of what I do now is I really just want to make my parents proud, specifically my mom. I want to make her proud because out of everything I've put her through and out of all the bad decisions I've made, she was always there to bail me out every time, and no matter how bad I screwed up or whatever, she always was there to make sure I was okay and to pick me up off my butt when I'd fall down. And I'm at a point in my life now where I've really turned everything about my life around, and my biggest fear is that I fail at what I'm doing right now and I disappoint her again. Because all I really want, I think this is what I've really wanted a lot of my life, is to just make her proud. I want to be that son that like she can brag about. She's happy to say that is my boy, and I know like yeah, I just okay, we're gonna move on to the next question, but I just really don't want to disappoint her anymore. So that's my biggest fear for sure. Okay. Smiles on. Next question. What's from Stephen Patrick Vaudry? What's better for losing weight and keeping gains? Intermittent fasting or eating small meals every 3 hours? Okay, here's my thing now. Both the meal frequency, if you want to eat a meal as soon as you wake up and eat every 2 to 3 hours, or you want intermittent fast and put it all in a window, right? Looking at both of those, they're really both just a means to an end. If your goal is fat loss, right, you got to look at your overall macronutrient profile and the overall amount of calories you're eating in a day. Now, if you are doing intermittent fasting, right, and then you're eating 1,800 calories and you're doing, 3 to 5 meals a day every 3 hours, and you're doing 1,800 calories with the same macros, then in the end, your results are going to be just about the exact same. You might have like a 1 to 2% difference, because in the end, it's energy out versus energy in with any of these diets, right? But if you're talking just from a regular, like I'm just going to eat clean, you're not going to track anything, and you're doing intermittent fasting versus eating every 2 to 3 hours, intermittent fasting for sure, in my opinion, will give you better fat loss results simply because you're eating less frequently. So in turn, if you're not tracking, you're most likely going to eat less overall throughout the course of a day. And I think that's why intermittent fasting works well for so many people, is because you're staying in a huge chunk of your day where you don't eat and you have a small window where you do. So in turn, you got to think about it even just from a statistics standpoint, right? If you have less time throughout the day, you're going to eat more than likely based simply on just the percentages, you're going to eat less, right? So in the end, both can work just fine. You just got to find what works best for you, right? I'm the type of guy, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to take my pure aminos, and I am going to fast until about 2 p.m. because that is what's easiest for me. It's about 5 p.m. right now, and I've only had 6 eggs today. That's all I've eaten. And then what I'll probably do is leave here, go to the gym, come home, and whatever's left in my macros, I'll eat in one massive meal before I go to bed, and that's how I do things. So today might only be 2, maybe 3 meals for me, shoved within a very small window, but that works for me. You just got to find what works for you and your schedule. We're all different. I work from home, so it makes this way easier for me, whereas someone, if you're on the road and traveling, maybe every 2 to 3 hours is more ideal for you. So there you go. Thanks for the question, man. From RW Calderwood, will you hire me to mow your lawn and do landscaping? Funny story about that, man. I was actually just thinking about that earlier. He's a local guy, by the way, owns his own landscaping business. I looked out, seen my yard, and I said, I don't want to mow that thing this summer. So how about this? If you're watching this video, email me and tell me how much you charge me. How about that? Nice question. From Chris Sonagera, I have no idea what to ask. I just wanted to comment on the post. Well, hey, man, I appreciate the participation. And then we have from Travis Cole, are there any food challenges you wouldn't try? Yes, actually. Here's my thing with food challenges. I love doing eating challenges. It's added so much growth to my channel. I know I talk about this a lot, and it's fun. It lets me have my cheat meals, but still document the progress and show you guys that you can make gains and still have your fun too, and on all that. So I preach balance, right? But I will never do an eating challenge with food I don't like the when we went and did the melt challenge, right? By the way, one of my best eating challenge videos with the least amount of views. Check it out if you haven't seen the melt challenge yet. A 5-pound grilled cheese sandwich epic. During that challenge, coleslaw is part of the challenge, right? And I had to sub the coleslaw out for french fries, I had to sub the coleslaw out for chips, which it wasn't even technically in the challenge, but I'm just not gonna eat anything I don't like, guys. Part of having a cheat meal is eating foods you enjoy, and eating challenges, if they involve any food that I don't personally like, I'm not gonna do it. You know, like someone's commented the other day and said like a 50 boiled egg challenge or whatever, like, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I like these, but I want to enjoy them too, so. Oh, speaking of that, I have every single flavor of Halo Top in my fridge right now, and I will be doing an every flavor of Halo Top challenge. I think it's 17 pints of ice cream in one sitting. I want to do that. Comment below if you want to see that challenge. They're in my fridge, guys. I just got to get you guys' approval. Thanks, Travis. Thank you. All right, and from Brittany Kraft, she says, please answer my question. I love your videos. Okay, well that got you your answer. She says, when cutting, what is the best foods to eat for breakfast after a workout with weights? I usually make whole wheat pancakes with peanut butter and fruit. Okay, Brittany. So here is where I think you're going wrong a little bit with your breakfast. So think about that breakfast you're eating. You said whole wheat pancakes with peanut butter and fruit. So when you're cutting weight, a lot of times, if you want to make good progress, in my opinion, guys, keep in mind, all this stuff is just my opinion, what I've seen working with clients, myself, my friends that are bodybuilders, you know, all that. When cutting weights, right, you want to keep your carbs as low as you possibly can. Now, the amount of carbs you need, you're gonna have to experiment with that because, you know, we all have, if you're lifting with weights specifically, we're all gonna have different demands we're putting on our muscles, right? And you need some carbs to refill muscle glycogen stores, boom, so you can keep your muscles full and recover properly, but too much of that spills over and in turn leads to weight gain. So you got to kind of find your golden ratio. I would recommend for you, I don't know anything about you other than the fact you just posted. For women, typically, if I'm just giving you a ballpark estimate, about 50 to 60 grams of carbs a day, right? And I would imagine that breakfast you're talking about has probably 50 or 60 grams of carbs already. So I would say for your breakfast, you're talking about having whole wheat pancakes. So pancakes being plural, I would assume you're gonna have at least 40 grams of carbs in those. A typical banana, 81 grams of a banana has about 19 grams of carbs, right? And that's maybe a half of a banana. So if you're eating a regular sized banana, you might be at roughly, you know, or maybe it's more like 3/4 of a banana, but you're probably at 25, 30 grams of carbs right there. Peanut butter is gonna have a little bit of carbs in it as well, and depending on how much of that you're using, peanut butter being one of the most calorically dense foods you can have, your breakfast could easily be hitting 700-800 calories with a ton of carbs and not as much protein as you'd like. So here's my suggestion. Swap out that stuff, right? Keep it pretty low carb. Maybe if you just want the banana, go for that. And then if it was me, I like to do eggs personally because you're getting protein and healthy fats there. So maybe a few eggs, maybe do some egg whites. That way, if you still want your peanut butter, you can have it. Or maybe, you know, throw in some extra virgin coconut oil with your egg whites to give them a little bit of flavor, but some of those healthy fats too. But mainly focus on your proteins, right? I usually recommend if you want some protein and fat at your first meal. So if you're wanting to do maybe some steak, some lean ground beef, some eggs, one of those, and then pair it with a carb, yeah, but like keep them relatively low. Like I usually recommend maybe like a serving of oatmeal, maybe some whole wheat bread, you know, lower carb whole wheat bread, not going too crazy, or potentially, you know, a fruit of some sort. So, but too many carbs is gonna be detrimental to your goals. Thank you so much for your question. Okay guys, we're gonna do a few more. All right, this one is from Karen Andrews. When a Mrs. James appears in your life, how important is a similar eating/exercise regime to you? Is it a deal breaker? So I'm gonna assume that this question means like, do they have to be on the same level of what I do as far as eating and everything? Okay. So I've dated a few fitness girls in the past, right? And all I'm gonna say about that is that honestly, it sounds great. Like you get someone that's into the gym, you guys are on the same routine, you care about the same stuff. It sounds all fine and dandy, right? But for me, going to the gym is like a break from everything, right? I can put my headphones in, decompress, all my stuff throughout the day, I can kind of shrug off to the side, just kind of focus on me. I get my hour and a half with weights, really good for me to de-stress and just feel overall better and kind of clear my head, right? When you have a girlfriend, my experience, that's the weight lifts, and then it's one of those things where it's like, oh, are we going to the gym together? Okay, and then it becomes like you go to the gym together, and then I don't like it. I've done it, and I'm just not a big fan, you know. So I mean, someone that eats healthy would be great because it's like, you know, that temptation's not there as much. But personally, I kind of like me doing my gym thing. And then, you know, if they go to the gym and do all that stuff, that's great, awesome. But like, I kind of think that like, if I ever date somebody, like I don't even really want them to be into fitness. I don't even really care. Like I like doing my thing. And you know, if you want, I want to be able to buy you cookies and cake and I want you to eat food so I can live vicariously through you, right? I want you to lay on the couch. That way I can, you know, I can be jealous, right? I don't know if I want that. So my whole goal is like, I want to be able to spoil you, right? Buy you some donuts, do this, do that. Like you don't need to be all serious and crazy and strict. And plus two, dieting puts you in a bad mood when you're cutting. So, you know, we don't need that either. So nice question. Okay, guys, I'm doing one more and then I gotta cut this short. From Justin King Milliman. Final question. What advice would you have for someone who wants to be a personal trainer? Okay, as you guys know, I'm a certified personal trainer through the International Sports Sciences Association. It's an online course you get on and you do all these chapters, answer all these questions, you have a final exam, you pass it and go through it. Being completely honest with you guys, I didn't really learn much through my personal training certification. That was basically it's a way for me to say I'm certified and makes people trust you. But in all reality, what they taught me was outdated and I didn't use any of it, for real. I learned maybe a couple different like names of muscles I might not have known, you know, like this thing or this thing, but I already knew those. But it taught me a bunch of stuff that I just didn't feel was necessary, right? I think if you want to be a personal trainer, obviously you need some sort of certification, especially if you want to work in a gym. So, you know, focusing on one of a nice one, like maybe your ACE or your ISSA, whatever. Really, you're only going to get better at personal training by making people meal plans and making people workout routines and experimenting with different workouts and exercises and watching your own body transform. Because most likely, if something works for you, it's going to work for somebody else. Not in the same sense of like, you know, you're going to get the exact same results, but it's a pretty easy concept to understand, right? You put someone in a calorie deficit, you give them a decent set of macros and a decent set of workouts. Their body has no choice but to change if they're following it. And it's about fine-tuning that stuff and figuring out, okay, so I know what works best for a 6'3" male that weighs 250 pounds as opposed to a 4'9" female that weighs 100 pounds, right? It's about figuring out the differences between that stuff. And before I ever got paid to do anything personal training, I made free meal plans and free workout plans for everybody. There was a time on Facebook before any of this where I was making diets for people. It wasn't certified, and I was just, people were like, hey, I want to lose weight. And I'd go, oh, well, here, let me make you a diet. And I'd crunch the numbers and do the math. Practice makes perfect. And, you know, you don't have to be some crazy in shape guy to be a personal trainer, but you have to be able to show people that, like, you practice what you preach. So I recommend, if you're not currently at a point where you can, like, flex and have some muscle, like, you know, I'm not like the biggest guy in the world, but, you know, at least I have something there. And, you know, you can experiment that you can gain weight and you can bulk and you can cut and you know kind of what you got to do to reach those milestones. If you can show people that, then they're more likely to trust you. And plus, too, don't be one of these people like that isn't open on their way of thinking. Like, there's some trainers I've spoken to that are like, you only do CrossFit for training, or like you got to do high intensity interval training no matter what, or you can only do fasted cardio. Be flexible in your approach because, like I said, not everybody is the same, and not everybody has free time in the mornings to go do fasted cardio, and not everybody's going to go sign up for CrossFit and do that. So just be flexible in your approach and understand that everybody's different, everybody has different needs, and in the end, being a personal trainer, people are putting their trust in you to help them get their results. So, you know, treat everybody fairly, listen to what people have to say, take all their considerations into consideration, and just do it, man. If you want to be a personal trainer, you just got to do it. It's a lot of things in life. You can be whatever you want to be, but it's up to you to just do it. So whether that's a small step, and small steps daily adding up to big progress over time, whatever you got to do, just do it, and everything else will fall into place. The universe has a way of giving you what you want when you're ready for it. So just start taking that action, man. That's the best advice I can give you. Okay, we're cutting this Q&A off. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your support. This has been a great Q&A session. I appreciate all the questions and the participation. Like I said, if you want to be included in these in the future, go down to the description box below, add my Facebook page, and there's a chance your question will be answered. And I apologize if I didn't answer your question in this Q&A. Save your question, guys. I literally scroll through these and just kind of pick them at random. So save your question, then when I post another one, if I didn't answer it, post it again in the comments, and there's a chance you will get your question answered. So, as always, guys, I appreciate you so much. And like I said, these shirts are officially on sale. If you're watching this right now, they literally just went live. So, if you want one, now's the chance to grab it. And with that, guys, I am out of here. If you like this video, hit that like button. That way I know that you guys want to see more Q&As. I love doing these. Like I say, it's like kind of a little vacation for me. I kind of just sit here, answer some questions, put an easy video out, and be done with it. And it still keeps me on my quota. So, as always, don't forget to smile, remain positive, and pay someone a compliment, because you never know whose day you could be making better. With that, I am out of here. This has been a Remington James production, and I will see you guys at the next video. See you guys.